Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Yankee Stadium.
This is the way.
This is the way.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Empire 161, your show about the New York Yankees. My name, Tim T. Next to me right here, my co-host, Ed Camus. What's up, Ed? What's going on?
Booyah! What's going on, Tim? I was we had a little delay, but it gave me some time to watch the ongoing TNT Star Wars extravaganza that seems to go on every weekend. I don't know, it never ends.
It never ends. You can't get rid of it.
I'm not complaining. It's not like the prequels are on all the time, but
well, let's just say this too before we even get started. We opened up the last show, and I stole Rick Rude's famous comment when he was on Nitro and Raw the same night, and oh, what a difference a day makes. But we said, oh, what a difference a week makes, and it was bad. Now, oh, what a difference a week makes. What an unbelievable run the Yankees have had this past week since the last time we were on. I can't even begin to talk about the numbers. I guess we'll break it down game by game. That Toronto series was completely bonkers. And not to get ahead of myself, but last night was probably my favorite game of this whole streak going on, just because of the way they came back and everything. And of course, the most polarizing player on the team right now had two massively big hits last night. So before we get into that, we always start with our little Twib notes. Let's jump into that. Oh well, let me get it ready. Okay. And wait, got to get the theme song going. But Ed, before we even get started, though, impressions over the past week. What a difference 2 weeks makes in this freaking crazy season.
yeah, I mean, I'm dying to get into it. I can't wait to get into the weekly recap of this. Really, there's a lot of fun and some bonkers stats we got here coming on because I'm all about those. But yeah, it's been great, man. The last time we did a show, they had one win, and we're like, let's see if they can like.
There's a lot of fun.
Sorry, that's me. Go ahead.
So we're just hoping that they could follow up with it. That was the plan. And boy, did they ever follow up with it. I mean, they haven't lost since before our last show. So you can't really ask for more, man. It's going to be a lot of fun to get into it.
All right, so before that, let's see what's been going on around the league. And we got to kick the greatest music ever on real quick. I'm the only one in the house who appreciates this music. It's upsetting me. I got to teach my kid about this music and this show and the greatest show ever. All right, so what are we going to start off this week with our This Week in Baseball Notes?
Oh, man, I baseball. I thought you got to hit the ball.
Oh, This Week in Baseball.
There it is. That's more like it. I guess we'll start off with what happened with breaking news from earlier via Justin Verlander's own Instagram account. Apparently announced he needs Tommy John surgery. So if you're going to say that at this point in the season, exactly. But I'm just saying, if you're going to say that at this point in the season, man, number one, I don't know what the heck has been going on the whole time you've been out. So I don't know what waited this long. So that's questions that the Astros doctors can find out. But yeah, that's probably going to put him out for next year, and he ain't getting any younger. So I don't know, man. I don't know what it means, for the rest of his career. But exactly, no one's really exactly crying over this one or feeling bad for him, but it is noteworthy. I mean, being that of the caliber of pitcher he is. So
I know he's not a hitter, and he wasn't part of that whole thing probably, but I don't care. Good for him.
But he's also got a big
cheaters.
mouth. Yeah, he's got a big mouth though.
He's an a-hole. He is definitely not one of the more likable guys in the league. So you know what? Goodbye. Go get your hot wife and go home.
Yeah, exactly. We can't take that away from him, but
never take that away from him.
No, he's got props for that. But yeah, when he can have his surgery and go chill out with Kate Upton, and I'm sure he'll be okay. But yeah, as far as on the baseball perspective goes, that's a pretty big blow for the Astros. And again, he's another guy it's hard to feel bad for him because I don't want to see anyone get hurt. I don't cheer for any athletes to get hurt, but you're not going to feel too bad because he does have a big mouth. He was talking directly about Gleyber Torres during his rookie year, trying to like make passive aggressive comments about, oh, he never hit like this in the minors, so maybe he's on something. It's like, no, dude, just because you and your team cheat doesn't mean everyone cheats. So
Yep. Of
cut
course.
the bullshit.
Yeah,
So that's why.
It's called deflecting.
Exactly.
It's called trying to deflect their crap on
Oh,
everybody
look what
else.
I got here, and then look what's over here. No.
And that's what the Red Sox did the same thing. Well, if we got caught, well, then they must have been cheating. It's like, come on,
Exactly.
Just relax already.
Exactly.
Prove it, and then we'll talk about it.
Just prove it, man. So that takes us into last Sunday. The Cubs' Alec Mills tossed the second no-hitter of the season, and both are interestingly by Chicago teams because Lucas Giolito tossed the first one for the White Sox earlier in the year, so now the Cubbies got their own. Cubs won that game last Sunday 12-0 over the Brewers, and it was the 16th no-hitter in Cubs history and the first since Jake Arrieta did it back in 2016. Then the big story.
It's a good story about that kid, though.
Yeah. I was considering putting that whole thing together, but look it up. If you're interested in Alec Mills, look him up. He's got a great story. The whole thing with like Chicago pizza and his wife getting the pizza and everything like that. It's a pretty cool story. But
yeah, it is.
Yeah, look into that.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. But on the big story for baseball, though, is back on Tuesday, MLB announced their plans for the postseason bubble. So now it's officially happening. So there is the plan pretty much is the wild card round will start on Tuesday, September 29th, with all higher seeded teams hosting a best of three series. The bubble will officially begin and pretty much on location with a divisional round, which is the second round this year. And that'll be on Monday, October 5th. After that, it'll roll into the ALDS, which will be at San Diego and the Dodger Stadium, and then the NLDS will be hosted by Houston and in Arlington, Texas, in their brand new ballpark. I think it's Globe Life Stadium. Then the League Championship Series will begin after that on Sunday, October 11th, which is ironically my wedding anniversary. So that's actually pretty cool. Hopefully we'll get some Yankee baseball that day. And then the World Series begins on Tuesday, October 20th in Arlington, Texas. So you got the NL ballparks hosting the AL playoffs and the NL ballparks hosting, the NL ballparks are hosting the AL and then vice versa, where you got the AL ballparks hosting the NL. But I guess there's just no, hey, we're a little bit more familiar with this. We play in this division kind of stuff, so everyone's pretty fine with it.
No one could bitch about home field or rivalry getting their home field by accident or whatever. So yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, and personally, it would be kind of cool to get to see the Yanks play. Petco Park is beautiful. I've been there. Very nice stadium, and I love Dodger Stadium. So
is Texas cool. A roof? I haven't seen their new stadium yet. Is it a roof?
I think it has a retractable, if I'm correct.
So the World Series. Well, it's hot in Texas anyway during October. I was going to say we're going to definitely going to get a warm World Series in, which is good.
Yeah, because I also think that's something baseball was banking on right there, because the schedule that they've laid out, which I wasn't going to get into the whole thing about it. I guess we could with our playoff preview, but there's not a lot of off days that are going to be baked into this thing. So it's not like if you remember back in 2009 where the Yankees pretty much got by with 3 starters because there was 1,000 off days. This year there's a lot of there's no travel days and things like that. So there's going to be a lot of back-to-back. So teams are going to have to go ahead and use their full rotation. We always talk about who's going to be in the playoff rotation and just knock it down to like 3, possibly 4 starters. This year, it's going to be 5. So it will be interesting to see what the Yankees are going to do with that and other teams are going to do with that. It's going to truly show who has the best full staff, best full roster. We remember earlier we were talking about asterisks and things like that, but as the season's gone on, man, like dealing with COVID, I know it's a short season, less games, but you're dealing with COVID. Now you're dealing with a bubble, situation like that. There's a lot of crap going on, man. Like whoever wins this thing, it's going to take a lot.
They're going to earn it.
You really got to earn it, man. So maybe the asterisk will indicate 60-game regular season, but after that, it's pretty tough, man. There's an extra round of playoffs, back-to-back games, no real home field advantage outside of the wild card round, which is why we want the Yanks to go ahead and get that. Right now, they're holding the 4 seed, which is pretty solid because now they would host the Twins in that first round. But after that, it's all bets are off then. So we shall see. In the other sports, we've seen a lot of upsets in the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs. because no home ice, no home court advantage, no fans. So it's literally just dudes playing ball, and you'll see what's going on with that.
Yeah, I don't think anyone picked the Heat and the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals in the NBA.
No,
not this year. And again, not to toot my again, I'm not going to pretend I'm the biggest basketball fan because I'm not. But I think down 2-0, the Celtics would actually play very well going back to Boston. But they're not going back to Boston. They're in the bubble,
right.
So they're in a lot of trouble now because of that. But that's a whole other subject. But yeah, I like that. I like the fact that you said AL is hosting NL, NL is hosting AL. Nobody can bitch about we play this park too much. It's all brand new. Not brand new, but it's all going to be even keel field. So yeah, like you said, they're going to earn it. Whoever wins is going to earn it. So
yeah, it's definitely going to be pretty tough to do. So
Dave, let me tell you something. You picked the Heat because you're a Florida dude. You picked the Heat. You picked the Marlins. You pick all that stuff. That's because you're a Florida dude. You got to bet with your head, not with your heart, man. Come on.
Is Dave like the ultimate homer though? Is he just like Mr. Florida?
No, actually, he's a Yankee fan though. He is a Yankee fan. He wants he wants to come on, but yeah, he likes to get the Marlins going because he's a Florida guy. But they are big Heat fans on Cinder Sports Talk. There's a lot of Heat guys because they're based in Florida. So I'm getting a lot of Heat crap on the message boards and stuff. I was like, I got to ignore it all because I can't talk. Like I said, I haven't watched basketball this year. I can't come out all of a sudden with my Celtics game like we're in the East Conference Finals. That wouldn't be right. But well, yeah, here you go. See, he didn't pick the Dolphins though. No one should ever pick the Dolphins.
All right, so then that's fine. But did you pick Tampa Bay to go far in the NFL playoffs? That's what I really want to know.
No, screw Tampa.
Tampa. It's Tampa, Tim.
Oh, that was Tampa. I'm sorry. Tampa.
I think he actually what's it called? Got a patent on that whole thing.
Yeah, so, he did. He's a moron. He's a moron. I don't want to hear it. I pick him to win this week, but that's about it.
Yeah, I think they do bounce back this week.
It's where we leave off. Any more Twib notes?
No, that's it. Just 3 big ones. I mean, the biggest one being the postseason bubble, which I still don't want to bury the lead with this, but the Yanks 9-game winning streak has got them worried about seeding when the last time it was, it was all over the place. But I do have some quick Yankees notes though before we jump into that. So obviously the good news, unless you've been sleeping under a rock somewhere and you're watching the show, I don't know why you would, but Judge, Stanton, Gio, and Johnny Lasagna are all back. They had to send down Miguel Andujar and Mike Ford to the Upside Down to make room for them, which that leads us right into the next story. So Miguel Andujar's agent apparently believes that he should be on the MLB roster, which I understand why he's not. It's not because, he's not hitting or he's not performing, but the necessity of, I'm sorry, but I'm going with Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, and Gio Urshela over Miguel Andujar. But his agents basically claim the Yankees are screwing around with him to manipulate his surface time after the latest send down this week, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, though, because he only needed to serve 13 days in the Upside Down, which, for those who are not familiar with it, is what we call the alternate site here, which is the minors. So there's the minors equals the alternate site equals the Upside Down. So get that straight. He already served his time there. So the Yankees already got the extra season of control over Andujar, but it's already done. So are you claiming retroactively that they were manipulating his time? I mean, the guy came up here. He was not great in left field. Gio Urshela has proved to be the better player so far. It's not even close defensively, and offensively, it's not even close. Not even close. Yeah, but Gio's also hitting and doing exactly what Andujar does and more. So it's kind of hard to argue with that. But Miggy did hit 355 with a 975 OPS since September 4th before he got called down. So it's not like he wasn't, because he was just getting hot. But listen, Stanton's your guy. If he's healthy, he's the DH. I mean, it's just that simple. He's got a lot more pop than Miggy does. I'm not saying that Miggy is a bad player, but he's a man without a position. And for the Yankees, who had Gleyber Torres, who was dealing with some stuff, you do need Tyler Wade, and you do need Tyro Estrada, who actually got recently sent down since then. But I think Wade is going to be your guy. He's your backup middle infielder and stuff like that. He can play more positions than Andujar. He's not the hitter he is, but they don't need that guy sitting on the bench who can hit and can't field. So it makes perfect sense.
I think Frazier's finally earned his spot. So they
Absolutely.
ain't sending him down either now. So
No,
it sucks for Andujar, but yeah, it's just the way it goes, man.
yeah, well, no, Tim, you made a good point. Like Frazier is also, and Boone has said it. He's going to be in the lineup every day. That's it. He's won the job. Yes, Brett Gardner's going to get some starts. Talkman, ironically, he's the most versatile one out of the group, but he's going to be the guy who comes off the bench. But Frazier's proved himself. He's looks way more comfortable in left field now. In right field he was, and in left field, and now you can play both corner outfield positions, and you're hitting the way he's hitting. I mean, I'm sorry, it sucks for Andujar that he got hurt last year, but a lot of guys have passed him up since then. He's a guy who you can look at in the offseason to be traded now.
Is it just me, or did it seem like they came back to the lineup like a wrestling storyline?
Yeah,
like one minute you're like, oh man, half the line's gone. Also, it's like Stanton's back. It comes out the way like the glass broke, and here comes Stanton, and then here comes Gio Urshela. I was like, what the hell? Where'd this come from? Because out of nowhere, bam, 3 guys are walking down the aisle. I
love it.
NWO style, walking down to that lineup. I was like, what the hell just happened here? So I thought that was pretty awesome. And then boom, next day, Judge is here. It's like, we didn't get no update. Like, hey, he's doing good. He'll be back. No, here he is. Glass broke. Here comes Aaron Judge walking down the aisle, vest on, stunning people. That's just what it seemed like to me, because there was no warning. There was no, hey, they're doing good. They might be back next week. They might be back tomorrow. It was just like, they're here. That's it. Bam, bam, bam. The guy's walking down the aisle. So I thought that was pretty awesome, actually, because when I saw it right before you posted it that they were back in the lineup, I said, holy shit, all 3 of them? I was like, what the hell just happened here? So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, there was rumblings about a little bit. Like Boone was kind of like very vaguely hinting that they're going to at the alternate site. They're doing some light jogging. It started looking like what we used to joke about. Jerry and I used to joke about spring training highlights. So you would see on like the Channel 11 News, where before sports coverage became 24/7 now, it was like, oh, the Yanks are in spring training, guys waving, guys lightly jogging and stuff like that. And that's all you saw. And then you're right, bang, they're back. Gio and Stanton come back on Tuesday. Then Judge is back the next day. It's like bang, bang. And then the Toronto pitchers pretty much with a rock, that they just came back when the glass broke. So, it was unfortunately, though, Andujar is the guy getting the shit into the stick with this. But he's a guy, especially if his agent's going to start barking now, that you would probably look at to get traded. But
for a pitcher,
yeah, you got to see too. Like it'll be interesting to follow what happens with him. But it is what it is. His market value also may have went down a bit because now they kind of know the Yanks don't really need him. He's a guy without a position, so we'll see. We can get into that in the off-season shows, though. But the last story is something to watch is Aroldis Chapman's appeal of his 3-game suspension is still looming. Even though he's appealed, it's still out there. So I'm kind of curious. I haven't checked my Twitter recently, but there is a possibility that since he pitched the last 2 nights, he's definitely not pitching tonight. Boone's not going to go with him 3 games in a row, so that's definitely not happening with the pitch counts he's been running up to last night. So the question is, does he drop it now? Since he can just serve tonight, since he wasn't going to pitch anyway. And then they're facing the Red Sox again, who we'll get into how they've had their way with them. Do you really need him tomorrow night either? And then maybe you get him back, for that. I don't think you want that looming over the final week of the season. So this would probably be a really good time for him to just drop it, or maybe MLB knocks it down 1 game. I don't know, but you can take a look at that. Is this more? Yeah,
extra bubble wrap. Yeah, he's a bit fragile.
Yeah,
just don't jinx it, Dave. Just don't jinx it yet. Let's just hope.
Let's hope.
Let's hope the NWO stays together. Let's hope they all. We don't need the glass breaking anymore. Let's just hope it works out.
Hold on. So if we're gonna do that, so would he be Kevin Nash?
That's a whole nother show. That would take a lot. That would take a lot of prep. We have to break that down slowly. So let's not get into that right now.
Maybe we'll do that. But I was just looking at some of the injury stuff. Listen, when Stanton's in the lineup and they're pretty much, as Cashman has said, a fully operational Death Star again. Yes, nice tie-in to our show too, Cash. But they are dangerous, man, and we have seen it. We're going to get into that now, but we have really seen what they're capable of doing. And in some ways over this winning streak, they look better than they did even when they were fully healthy in the beginning of the season, which is pretty scary. So let's see what happens.
And Judge still has not really he didn't really hit yet.
Nope,
So
he smoked us.
So once he gets going,
Yeah. Yep.
It's the glass breaking.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
It's going to be serious, man. They can still even get better than this, which is kind of hard to believe. But
honestly, it's we got to worry about after Cole pitching wise. That's it.
I don't think so.
Obviously, health.
I really don't think so.
Yeah, but obviously health. But no, that's always going to be the question mark. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, other than that, this lineup stays the way it is. And no one going to stop them.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, after Cole, who has gotten his act together now, he's looked like Garrett Cole again the last two starts. I mean, Tanaka has looked good, but we also have seen him throughout his entire Yankees career. When it gets to the playoffs, I mean, and the money's on the line, the big games there, he is one of the best postseason pitchers in baseball. Knock on wood, I don't want to jinx it, but Tanaka, like, he rises to the occasion every single time. And Devi Garcia has looked awesome. I mean, he has really looked awesome.
Thank God.
Yeah, and if Montgomery is your 4, and Happ has actually been pitching better too.
Don't jinx that. Definitely don't jinx that.
No, definitely not. Knocking on wood again.
Don't because like you said, it's going to take a 5-man rotation in this playoffs. It's not going to be no 3 guys, take a week off, come back for the ALCS, start all over again. It's not going to be like that. So like you said, the pitching is going to have to be on point. Hitting, we're about to get into why hitting is not going to be a problem. But pitching, like I said, it's always going to be pitching.
Yep. But
that's
a win.
David's a whole nother show. Don't get us started, all right? Don't get us started yet. We'll see what's going on with that.
Yeah, listen, maybe we can be the crossover show. We can do a wrestling and Yankees crossover show.
Maybe I'll make that a special. That'll be good.
Exactly. So I guess we could roll right into the Yankees week in review. So the Yankees have won 9 games in a row. Again, not burying the lead, but if you're watching the show, you probably know this right now. So that's where they're at the moment. Takes us back to the doubleheader because on our last show we did it on the 10th, and it was rained out that night, so that shifted it over to a two-game doubleheader on 9/11. The Yanks were wearing those pretty awesome caps with the FDNY and the NYPD on it, so that was pretty cool. I haven't seen them on Fanatics or anything like that, so I don't know if they're not for sale then. But
I haven't seen. I looked right away too. I haven't seen them.
No, I'm kind of surprised, but the hats did look pretty awesome. But what was even more awesome than that is the spanking that they gave the O's both games. In the first game of the doubleheader, that 4:00 start, Yanks won 6-0 over the Orioles. Garrett Cole went a complete game, 7 innings, which is awesome as it did rest the bullpen, though, because we know that they were getting taxed at that point, giving up 2 hits and 1 walk and 9 strikeouts over those 7 innings. He had 27 swings and misses in that game, and it's the 4th most of his career. That's a lot of swing and misses for one game, even though it's 7 innings. So Cole was on point. Homers were by DJ and Gardy and Higgy. Tauchman was 3 for 3 in that game with an RBI, a stolen base, and a run scored. So he was even starting to get it together going before everyone came back. And then in the nightcap, the Yanks beat down the O's 10-1. It was Tanaka time, whereas he got his 2nd win of the season, going 5 innings, 3 hits, a run scored, and 5 Ks. Luke Voigt was 3 for 4 with 2 homers. So that put him at 16 at that point, driving in 6 RBIs. So he drove in 6 of the 10 runs and scored 3 as well. That Yanks kept on rolling. So last Saturday was perhaps not the most exciting game, but they won 2-1 over the Orioles in 10 innings. 2 sacrifice RBIs is how the Yankees got their 2 runs.
Anyone's exciting with this season.
No, I agree.
Anyone is good.
No, don't get me wrong, but we're going to keep rolling on the fireworks. This is probably the one game that had the least amount of fireworks, but win's a win, so who gives a crap? But both sac flies, actually, DJ LeMahieu was the one who scored on both. That's kind of impressive. The other sac flies were by Frazier, and the walk-off sac fly was by Luke Voigt in the 10th inning. So list of only 4, he was one of 4 Yankees now to have an extra inning walk-off sac fly in the past 20 years. You got Voigt, Swish did it in 2011. Ruben Sierra, who needs to be mentioned more in this No, I'm not kidding. He really doesn't. No, he did it in 2004, and Bernie Williams did it in 2001. So Voigt does join that list. In that game, Monty went 5 2/3, giving up 3 hits, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts. And Jonathan Holder got the win, his 3rd of the season. interesting thing, too, that you can watch during this whole thing is the starting pitching has gotten it together, as you mentioned before, along with the offense. So the Yanks started firing on all cylinders. And then they completed the 4-game sweep of the O's last Sunday, winning 3-1. Gleyber Torres was the afternoon where Gleyber Glasses was born, as he had a pinch hit for Brett Gardner, who came in as a defensive replacement for Miguel Andujar, who actually started the game in left field in the bottom of the 8th. So Gardner didn't even actually get an at-bat. His time even around, it was like, they're bringing a lefty, we're going to Gleyber, and then he hits an opposite field double to drive in 2. That proved to be the winning runs in the 8th inning. So that broke that 1-1 tie. Gleyber Torres, that was his 7th career go-ahead hit in the 8th inning or later, and that is the most of any Yankee since his debut back in 2018. Tyler Wade was 1 for 3. He had the homer, so he gave them the one before that. Zach Britton picked up the win, and Aroldis Chapman got the save. So, interesting thing about Aroldis Chapman with that Sunday game. So, for those who are aware, Boone went to go check on him in the 9th inning, and Boone was asked about it afterwards, which he kept laughing and didn't really want to answer the question, and then he kind of just left it at sometimes nature calls. So there was a belief that Aroldis Chapman potentially sharted in the 9th inning on the mound. I know, like John Boy Media, those guys over there were looking into it. I didn't catch a video of it, but they were trying to get that breakdown going. So you can add that to our – I kind of want to go back and get our list at the end of the season of our 2020 wackiest baseball stories, because this is definitely one of them. All joked about pitchers shitting on the mound, and usually not in that situation. But he got the save, and he was actually laughing about it after. He was laughing about it after he came off the mound. So very bizarre story.
You can get a save with shit in your pants. You're pretty good.
Yeah, that makes it even tougher.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. So that brings us to the Toronto series after the off day on Monday. So this is when the real fireworks started. So I guess the Yankees really felt compelled to get even with the Blue Jays after those 2 losses they had up in Buffalo a week ago. But the Yankees won 20-6 over the Blue Jays on Tuesday. The Yankees actually trailed that game 1-0 in the 2nd inning before they went off for 7 runs in the bottom half of the 2nd. They would score 5 in the 3rd and then 4 more in the 4th inning. That was also the game where Stanton and Gio made their entrance down the aisle and everything like that and came back into the lineup. David Garcia started that game, got his 2nd win of the year. He went 7 innings, giving up 6 hits, 3 runs, and 6 Ks. DJ LeMahieu was 4 for 6 with his 7th homer of the year, driving in 5 and scoring 3 runs. He is the first Yankee ever to have multiple games with 5+ RBIs out of the leadoff spot. So this is going to be a trend of first evers in history, which for a franchise as old as the Yankees are and as successful, it's nuts that you're still doing first at this point.
There's a lot of them this year.
There is a lot. Luke Voit was 3 for 5 with 2 more homers, so that put him at 18 at that point. He also drove in 5 runs. So out of the 20, half were driven in by a combination of LeMahieu and Voit. He also scored 3 runs as well. Gary Sanchez hit his 8th home run of the year. He drove in 4 RBIs in that game. So you got 14 out of the 20 driven in by 3 guys. Homers were also hit by Frazier and Hicks, and all 9 Yankee starters reached base in that game. So first time in Yankees history that the team hit at least 6 homers and 5 doubles in a game. Steve made sure that those doubles were definitely highlighted because we know how he feels about those, even though I'm pretty sure he'll never see the show. Yanks would keep rolling. They won 13-2, another smackdown of the Blue Jays on Wednesday night. So Garrett Cole would pick up his 100th win of his career. That was his 6th of the season. He went 7 innings, giving up 3 hits and 1 run and 8 strikeouts. And Cole's last 3 starts with Kyle Higashioka behind the plate, he has gone 20 innings, 2 earned runs for a .90 ERA, giving up 9 hits, 5 walks, and 27 strikeouts. In that game, also, that's when Kyle Higashioka added, he went 3 for 4, 3 of those being home runs and 5 RBIs. The third Yankee
Which I was shocked at.
Yes. So
actually, I couldn't watch that game. So I saw his first home run, and then I couldn't watch the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And then I hear he hit 2 more. I was like, no. Well, there's no way. And I was like, okay.
And they were some pretty serious tape measure shots. We're not talking about like just creeping over the 314 down the right field line crap. So he became the third Yankee to hit 3 homers in the game as a catcher. The last one was actually Gary Sanchez a couple of years ago. First Yankee to hit 3 home runs out of the 9-hole. And before that, Kyle Higashioka had 7 home runs in his first 188 at-bats prior. So he had 7 home runs at that point, and then goes 3 for 4 in one night. DJ LeMahieu was 3 for 4 with 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, and 3 runs scored. Voit added a home run for his 19th. He drove in 3. And Clint Frazier hit his 7th home run of the year. And the Yanks kept on rolling with that. I mean, then they went ahead and rolls on to Thursday, where the Yanks won 10-7 over the Jays. Once again, it was Tanaka time, picking up his 3rd of the year. He went 7 innings, 3 runs, 5 Ks. Chapman picked up his 3rd save of the season. All reports have him with no poop in the pants this time around. Just a good old, 100-mile-an-hour fastballs. So that was the first time in franchise history that they hit 5 homers in 1 inning. So in the 4th inning is when stuff went crazy. And I remember you texted me because you went to take a piss, and all of a sudden it was like just the stadium exploded. And that was the 7th time in MLB history that a team has hit 5 homers in 1 inning. The homers traveled a combined 2,005 feet, according to StatCast.
Stanton's was out of control.
I texted you. Stanton's landed. He went opposite field. It looked like it landed in McDonald's. So I might have to say there's a glass broken over there in Mickey D's. Yeah, that was freaking moonshot. First time in MLB history, a team has hit 6+ homers in 3 straight games. The other homers were hit by Gardy, DJ, Voit hit his 20th. We mentioned Stanton's, Gleyber Torres went deep, and Gary Sanchez went deep. In that game, Giancarlo Stanton was 4 for 5 with his home run, and he drove in 2. Yankees in that series, the Yankees set a record with 19 homers in a 3-game series that traveled. This seems to be a common theme with this. I don't know why it was everywhere, but it traveled a combined 7,496 feet, approximating 28 New York City blocks. Yeah, I don't even know why we know this, but we do. The previous record of 16 homers in a 3-game series was shared by the 2019 Yankees and the 2019 Nationals, as well as the 1977 Red Sox. Exactly. So homers galore. Did you bring up the pick?
Yeah, I brought it up. How do you bring it up? It's an hysterical picture.
So before we get on to last night's game, so Tim and I are going on. So this was taken during that whole bonanza. Garrett Cole doing his best impression of Craig Elo against the Bulls in the playoffs on that game-winning shot in Game 5. Just completely throwing it away. And I don't know why Tim and I have gone over this Craig Elo stuff, but it always seems to come back.
It never goes away.
No, it doesn't. Garrett Cole's doing his best there, but that's just the epitome of that Yankees Blue Jays series. That picture encapsulates exactly what's been going on.
That's just pure happiness.
Exactly. I kind of felt like that on my couch.
Like pure joy.
Exactly. I love it, man. I absolutely love it. And that takes us to last night, where the Yankees went ahead and started their only series in Fenway Park this year. Very wild game.
My favorite game. Out of all those home runs and of all those beatdowns we gave the Blue Jays, I loved last night's game because of just the fact that they fought back twice.
Yeah. So the wild game. So the Yankees battled back from down 4. Jordan Montgomery didn't exactly have it, but he also wasn't helped out on his defense. Yankees committed 3 errors early, so they were playing pretty sloppy. You got to wonder if there was some sort of a hangover that was starting to creep in over this series, because, I mean, baseball's baseball. Eventually, these things do balance themselves out. But Yanks were down 4 going into the 7th inning when Gary Sanchez hit an opposite field double with the bases loaded to knock it down to 4-2. And then in the next inning, in the 8th inning, Giancarlo Stanton pulled a double down the line, driving in Judge, which is good to see Judge score from going from first to home on that. His legs looked good. Everything was fresh, so that was something to keep an eye on. So he went ahead and did that. And then with 2 outs in the 9th inning, down 1, Gary Sanchez hit an absolute missile that creeped over and it looked like he was going to destroy that cardboard cutout over the green monster. I mean, that was a line drive that just kept going. I mean, he absolutely tattooed it. So good for him. Good to see his confidence coming back with getting those big hits. So he goes ahead and ties it up in the ninth inning. And then Luke Voigt gave the Yanks the lead in the top of the 10th inning. Then the Red Sox would go ahead and tie it up. And DJ LeMahieu would go ahead and go the other way, driving him proved to be the game winner, which was an opposite field double that just hit the chalk. You pretty much just saw it kick up. So it was slicing over there by the pesky pole. Sorry, let me just get some water here. There's a lot of talking here. So he went ahead and kicked up some chalk there. And then Johnny Lasagna, who, by the way, for those who do not know, is Jonathan Loizaga, but we're just going to keep on going with Johnny Lasagna here.
It's a lot easier.
Yeah, he pitched the second inning of relief and then closed it down for the win. That game wrapped up. It was like late night Yankees territory because it ended on, what was it, like 12:40 or something like that. Mm-hmm. So that was a late one for those who may have conked out or just not been able to stay awake for that. That game, pretty much, the Yanks extended their overall winning streak to 9. So that was their 9th win of the stretch. And during the stretch, they have outscored their opponents 72-20 during this winning streak. That is insanity. The Yanks extended their own winning streak versus Boston to 11 straight and have now won 16 of their last 17 games versus the Red Sox. DJ LeMahieu, who entered into – actually, him and Voigt did not have hits going into the extra innings, which is crazy because they've been, they're co-MVPs, if you want to call it that. He extended his hitting streak to 11 games, and he has at least one hit in 35 of the 41 games that he's played in so far this season. More just crazy numbers when you sit back and look at it. But one of the big stars of the game was Gary Sanchez, who is definitely showing signs of starting to come back to it. He's starting to get it after that 2-game benching, and they were working on trying to get him to use the middle of the field more and go the other way more like he used to. And it seems like, it is starting to click. He was 2 for 5 with a homer and 3 RBIs. So, wow, that wraps up a very wild streak of 9 straight wins. And man, that is a lot of firsts.
Still 3.5 out of the East, but you said we're nice and snug in that 4th spot right now, which is good.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to catch Tampa. I think we're going to catch them.
Yeah, it just.
How many games we got left?
So we have, 2, 4, 6, and then they got 9. So they got 9 games left in the season. They got the 2 against the Red Sox this weekend. Then they got 4 against the Jays, and then they close out the season next weekend against Miami. So they're going to be facing teams. I mean, outside after Red Sox, they're going to be facing teams that are playing for something, and there's no pushovers there. And then you have to start to wonder, though, is Boone going to start setting up his rotation as it gets closer? That's the thing that you got to factor in there. Are you really going to run out Cole and Tanaka and stuff next weekend against the Marlins if you kind of got a playoff spot wrapped up? You got your first round home field wrapped up to try to get the division. I mean, is it really worth going that far? So that's the part that gets tricky.
Maybe if they were playing Tampa, maybe it'd be a little different.
Well, that's the tough thing is because their games against Tampa, I mean, they did not fare well against Tampa this year, but their games are done against them. So it's kind of harder to chase down a team with that, but it's not impossible. Yeah. It's just that, there's not a lot of time left. And I personally would like to have them once they're there because they can actually clinch a playoff spot tonight. If they beat the Red Sox and the Padres beat the Mariners, the Yankees would officially clinch a playoff spot. So once they get that, and once you start setting up and start thinking about the postseason, that's where you got to wonder, all right, maybe we hold them back that weekend if it looks like it's just going to be too much. So a lot to look for this season. But go for it while you can. I just wouldn't jeopardize the rotation for the first round of the postseason, to get that because there's just not that much. If you already got your home field advantage, which right now if the season ended they would play the Twins. They're already going to be the home field. They're already going to have their home field advantage against that. After that, you go into the bubble. So, that's great. You get to say, hey, we won the AL East in 2020, but you don't really get much after that. So, it is something. But no, you're right. It's not impossible to do, and it would be nice to do. But I just wouldn't go balls to the wall for it, though.
No, not the risk to pitchers, especially. Yeah,
exactly. No,
we don't need that. We don't need that. No one needs that right now.
No, I want Cole. No, I mean, I want Cole set up to start game 1 of that wild card round. I want it to be. I'm going to assume it's going to be Cole and then Tanaka And then you're probably going to see Devi Garcia in there. Question: do you want the kid to have that on his shoulders or not? We'll see. But he's proven it. I mean, the kid looks unflappable. So he's been their third best pitcher in my opinion. So that's what I would definitely want to see. And then with the guys coming around too, I guess we could also figure out. I mean, we mentioned Luke Voigt's name a lot through our recap. He's really put himself in the AL MVP discussion. I mean, and that's not being a homer. That's not anything. I mean, he's not saying he's the clear-cut favorite because he's not. Ironically, DJ LeMahieu and him may have, want to take votes from each other because they're pretty close in a lot of things. But as it sits right now, Luke Voigt does lead the AL in home runs and actually in all of baseball in home runs with 20. I mean, he's right up there. Let's see, where is he at in RBIs? He is second to Jose Abreu in RBIs in the AL. So, he's a little bit back. He's hitting 281 with a 388 on base, but he's right there with them. I mean, Jose Abreu is having a pretty monster season. Mike Trout is Mike Trout. I mean, he can pretty much roll out of bed and be considered for the AL MVP. So that's another thing to watch over this last week of the season and know how does this play out. And I think that also ties into the age-old MVP question. And the MVP question in sports is always the same thing. You got the guy who always has the best stats all across the board, but Mike Trout, his team is not even going to make the playoffs when 8 teams make it. So how valuable really was he, to that? That's where you got to start stressing the value part. Luke Voigt was carrying this team with his foot stuff also that he was dealing with. Obviously, he's playing through it, but he was carrying the Yanks when they were going really bad during that 5-15 stretch not too long ago, and he's kept hitting during this whole thing. I mean, he's having a phenomenal season, and the question is his value to the Yankees. Where would they be without Luke Voigt right now?
And let's keep in mind, he plays with that top button undone with no shirt underneath. Let's just keep that in mind.
That is not easy to do.
Not easy to do.
No undershirt
and the button unbuttoned.
Showing the taco meat. I mean,
that's it. I mean, let me tell you something. That distracted the hell out of me for a while, but I've letting it go now.
Listen, when you hit like that, yeah,
exactly. There's many home runs. You can button the first 3 if you want. If it was MLB allowed, just keep hitting the home runs. But that flapping drove me crazy. I'm like, button the button. Mom, you don't want to button the button. You know what? Unbutton them all. I don't care anymore. Keep hitting home runs. Take your shirt off. I could care less. So, but yeah, I agree 100%. Him and where would we be without him and DJ right now? It'd be nowhere.
Yeah. I mean, you're right.
And LeMahieu last year too. Like I said, he was my MVP last year for them because he'd sell hot dogs if he asked him to, and he would do it well.
Yeah, he would.
He wouldn't mess your change up. He'd make sure he had mustard. He would do everything he needed to do to get the stuff going. So they got to. I think they got to resign him. I mean, he's 30. What? 30?
He'll be 32 this offseason.
I give him a 2-year deal. Right away. 2-year deal, re-sign him. If he wants 5, I don't know. Depending on the money. Wants 4? I'll give him a 4.
I'd go with a 3 to 4 year deal for him.
I would, because I don't see him dropping off that bad in the next 2 years. So I would definitely give him the deal he wants. Because like I said, the last 2 years he's carried us. Through all the injuries and everything, he's been carrying us.
Yeah, he's been huge. I mean, this year's MVP, I would probably go with Voigt over him, being that DJ did go on the IL, so he did join that group. But no, when he's healthy, he's been playing great. But I mean, Voigt just kept going and going, and he would be, for me, he's the team MVP this year with 1A being DJ LeMahieu. He's like right there with him. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, LeMahieu, it's probably going to take a 3 or 4 year deal, but I would max it out at I'd give him 20 a year. I'd give him 20 if it even takes that, somewhere between 20 and 25, because he's obviously earned it. He is one of the best pure hitters in baseball, and he's also leading in average right now. He's looking for the batting title. He's the other guy. So you got Voigt, who should be in the AL MVP discussion, and you got DJ LeMahieu, who's going to be vying for a batting title. I don't know what Tim Anderson did today, but I know they were going neck and neck right now. And that would be a legit batting title because has posted a bunch of numbers during games of 60-game stretches in team history and stuff like that. And I mean, it's not like guys hit 400 all the time during this. I mean, this is a pretty legit thing he's doing.
I'm pretty sure the force will be strong with one of them this week.
Don't give it away right now.
I'm teasing. It's a tease. It's a tease.
No, you're right. It's an awesome tease though, and it was very tough. But no, I would look at a 3-4 year deal. I would give him a lot of money. I would go above and beyond for him annually. But yeah, I would cap it at that much. Sign him until he's about 36, though. The type of game he plays, he drives the ball the other way, line drive hitter. He's even popping into home runs there. He plays second base, first base, third base. I mean, I can see him sustaining that over the course of another 3 or 4 years. And he would also, if he does win a batting title, he will actually become the first player ever to win a batting title in both the NL and AL. So that's also something that's to look forward to. And then haters will start whining about a 60-game season, but it's not easy, as we've seen. It's not like he's hitting 301 and barely got there. He's raking, man. So that's something to consider with that.
No, I agree. I agree 100%. I'd give him what he wants because I think he carried us last year.
Yeah,
he'll play any position you want him to play. Well, almost. Yep. He won't catch. I bet if you asked him to catch, he would catch.
If you gave him the equipment, he'd probably do it.
All right, I'll do it. Why not? And I'll go 3 for 4. No big deal.
Exactly.
I'll probably drop a few balls in the dirt, but I'll go 3 for 4, make up for it.
Not a big deal.
Absolutely. But yeah, Force is strong with him or Voit this way. I can almost guarantee it. So we'll see.
Yeah, I would say that's a safe bet. That is a safe bet. So,
I lost you there for a second. I got you back. Okay. We're good. I slammed my hand down so excitedly, everything went haywire. But I'm back.
That's like when Francisco used to play dominoes. He'd just bam! He just smacked the table right there.
All right. So what do you want? What are we gonna do? You want to talk? You want to do the awards?
Yeah, let's get to it.
All right, because I said it's going to be. I think you're going to pick the one guy, and I'm going to pick the other guy, just so they're both mentioned. So I'm pretty sure we're going to have the same guys again. So go ahead. Okay. You can go first.
All right. So for the uninitiated, we go ahead and the Force is strong with usually we pick a position player who had a great offensive week, and we'll throw in some defense there, but that's usually where this goes. And the other one is for since we go with the Star Wars theme and we say, blank has spoken for the pitcher of the week, tipping the cap to the Mandalorian. So the Force is strong.
Which we'll also discuss in a minute.
Oh, yes, we will. I really want to hear what you have to say about some things in there, but we'll get to that. So for me, this week, the Force was very strong with Luke Voit. Over his last 7 games, he's hitting .323 with a .935 slugging, 6 homers and 17 RBIs. I mean, pretty sure that's no shocker there. He's been phenomenal. And I even sent you a picture of that awesome RotoWear t-shirt that I got for that Luke Voit shirt with him as bad as the lightsaber. It says, "May the 4 bags be with you." I think it's pretty awesome. And they call the shirt the Luke Skybomber shirt, which I was kind of hoping was set on it. But no, Luke Voit he's been crushing it, and it was really difficult. I actually didn't choose. You lost me?
No, I got you.
Oh, okay. No, I actually didn't choose the guy until 10 minutes before we went on. I was literally still debating back and forth on who to go with, the other option being DJ LeMahieu. And the outside shot, Gary Sanchez was in a consideration because he did have a pretty awesome week as well. So I don't want to poo-poo on that. So I ultimately landed on Luke Voit.
And I'm going to go LeMahieu just simply because I want them both mentioned. Again, it was one or the other. So whoever you were picking, I was picking the other guy no matter what. Because like you said, these two guys, what they did this past week and all year have been outstanding, and they've carried this lineup. I said when you lose a Judge, when you lose a Stanton, you don't expect LeMahieu LeMahieu you do. Voit, you don't expect him to do what he's been doing, but he's been on fire. He's been hitting that ball. He's been playing well. He can unbutton as many buttons as he wants now. I don't care. So like I said, you go with one. I'm going to go with the other. I want both their names mentioned this week. So I say the Force is strong with both of them this week.
Nice. Yeah, you really couldn't go wrong with either one of them. And I do want to make sure that there's an honorable mention to Gary Sanchez though too, because Gary Sanchez having one of the worst seasons any regular player, position player can have. But he has been turning it around.
I said last night.
See that, yeah.
He drove in the first 2 runs. Then he hit the big home run. Clutch. Yeah. That's what we need. And he needs that confidence. He gets that confidence back, he's going to be fine. And what a time to get confidence back with a week to go in the freaking season and the playoffs starting soon. So
the whole team.
I'll go with that too. Yeah. Now, when Judge starts hitting, we're gonna see something interesting.
when he starts hitting.
Yeah, when he starts hitting.
because even too, when he came right back, and honestly, Stanton looks like he picked up right where he left off because he looked good before he got hurt too. So
he did. Yeah,
thanks, firing on all cylinders, and I'm definitely confident Judge will get that back. So do you want to start off with who has spoken?
I'm going to go with Garrett Cole again.
Okay.
I'm amazed by this dude. I mean, he said he hasn't had his Garrett Cole typical season, but and I know the naysayers.
Yeah,
certain people I'm not going to mention, but certain people in the blue and orange team who have their Cy Young pitcher who like to poo-poo on our guy just because doesn't have the ERA that the other guy has. But I don't care. I love what this guy does. I love his fire. I love everything he does. 2 more wins this week. He said he's looking a lot better. He's getting a lot better. I think these past 2 games have been his best games. So I'm going to go with Garrett Cole. And I'm not poo-pooing. I'm not poo-pooing on the blue and orange. I'm just saying that it's apples and oranges, people. I like Jacob deGrom, but it doesn't mean it's one has nothing to do with the other. So relax.
Home run apples and oranges.
Exactly.
That's exactly what it is.
Exactly.
No, listen, Jacob deGrom's a freaking phenomenal pitcher. I mean, shit,
he's
he might
a beast.
He might go ahead and win his 3rd Cy Young.
He's winning it.
And guess what? Garrett Cole. I mean, listen, this season is probably not going to be in the Cy Young discussion, but listen, I'm okay with that. Start straightening yourself out, which it looks like he definitely is, and do that in the playoffs. And then I don't care about the Cy Young. I care about the World Series.
I know that wasn't a shot at the put it in the book guys either. It wasn't them. It's the local. It's the local people. The local people who he's not as good as DeGrom, and DeGrom is 3rd Cy Young, and Garrett Cole sucks, and you wasted your money. It's like, really? Why? Because his ERA is not 1 under 1. He's a bust. Give me a break. Shut up.
Stop. So yeah, I guess we're can go with that. And it was Deivi Garcia wasn't in my consideration for that, but I'm rolling with Garrett Cole. His last 2 starts, like I fully agree with you, they've been his 2 best of the season. It looks like he pretty much really turned it around after that shit start he had with the Orioles when he was pitching great, and then pretty much unraveled in what was like the 5th or 6th inning. And that's pretty much when the Yanks hit rock bottom over those couple of days. And Cole did what an ace is supposed to do and was like, screw this. I'm putting my foot down. Enough of this shit. So over his last 2 starts, he's 2-0. Last 14 innings, 1 complete game, which I know is a complete game with 7-inning game, but it still matters. Giving up 5 hits, 3 walks, and 17 strikeouts. So Cole is definitely rounding out into form. And like we said, everyone coming back together. This is the perfect time to get their confidence, get everything rolling, and let's see what they got in the postseason.
Absolutely. So I think we agree most of the time on the pitching.
Yeah, I mean it's not on and off. Hasn't been too many.
Obvious too. Like Garcia, like you said, Garcia too. He's creeping up there, man. And I'm so glad because every year the Yankees have these pitchers who are supposed to be the next big thing, and it never pans out. But it looks like him. And what's the other one? Well, Severino's got Clark Schmidt, but Severino's got a injury problem. But hopefully he's gonna make a comeback also. Yeah,
it'd be nice to get him back next season for that. And I actually started talking about the Yankees pitching news. It does look like James Paxton is essentially done for the year. I know he'd be eligible to come back at some point in the postseason, but he won't be stretched out enough. He won't be built up enough. So if he actually somehow did, it would probably be in some sort of weird relief role, but I wouldn't, bank on that happening. And maybe he's thrown his last pitch for the Yankees, which is also possible because he's a free agent. And his injury history has been the question about him. When he is healthy and he's on the mound, I mean, he is really, really good. But the question being, again, what kind of a contract is he going to want? If he wants a 1-year prove-it deal, then so be it. My cousin Frank. Run support definitely makes you a better pitcher. Yeah, Frank's a big Met fan, and he actually honestly he's not a hater on the Yanks. He actually keeps it.
Oh, this is the famous Frank Met fan who you said he gets more on them than anybody else does, right?
Well, him and my cousin Mike, his uncle Mike, they're huge Met fans, and Frank's father Frank is also a big Mets fan. But Frank, this Frank and Mike, they keep it real though. They don't hate. They call it how it is. Yeah, but you're right. Run support definitely does make you a better pitcher, and it's you can't go ahead and have every pitch just be like, man, I can't make a mistake here and there. You get that run support, and you start cruising along, and you become much more confident, and that definitely helps. And
Dave, Dave, you know I love you, right? Yeah, I do.
What
You're
is
gonna
this?
be you're gonna be banned from the show. We do not bring up that name ever again. That is your one time to bring up that name, and we will never speak of that name again.
Listen.
Dave, I love you, Dave, but come on now. Let's never bring that up.
Well, hold on, Dave. I will say one thing to think about quickly. And I mean, whatever, we can get into it if we want. But with the Yankees playing the Orioles, yeah, pretty much if you want to look at bad contracts, Yanks have had Pavano and Ellsbury, the ones who jump out at everybody over recent history. Just think about this for a second. At least it's not Chris Davis. But the Yankees playing the Orioles, his name came up and got to see him unfortunately play. Jesus. Oh, wow. I just saw that comment. Oh, boy. But Frank, think about it. The Orioles signed Chris Davis to a 7-year deal for about, 165 or so? That dude is hitting like 100 and can't even barely make contact. So, but take this into consideration. Yanks, obviously a big market team. I get the money and everything like that. They can outspend their mistakes, like a Pavano and an Ellsbury. But if you're Chris Davis and you're the Orioles, giving Chris Davis that money, that's crippled you for how many years now? And they keep running him out there. Yes, Frank, Bud Bonilla. But that's a whole nother story. That is a whole nother story that gets into like deferred money. And, where are the Wilpons we're going to save now and pay later, and we need to, sign Mike Hampton and all this other crap. There's a lot to that Bonilla story. And Frank and Mike, by the way, every year I text them about Happy Bonilla Day. It's there.
Maybe the season comes to an end, we'll do one of those list shows where we have the worst Yankee signing. But we'll compare it to other players, too, who, all right, that was bad, but it wasn't as bad as this. Yeah. Well, so maybe we'll get into that also.
Yeah. Oh, we could tip the cap to Frank Costanza. Ken Phelps.
Jay Buhner.
Jay Buhner.
I guess Ken Phelps. Everybody said get Ken Phelps.
That was awesome.
That's definitely a bad trade.
Yeah, we can get into that. We can do our list of some of that crap.
We're going to have an off season soon, so I might as well think of something like that to pop on.
Before that, we have the final season wrap up next week and postseason preview, which is what I'm super excited about. And then we can figure out what's going to be our thing during the postseason. We can look at formats, show formats, and stuff like that. But let's tag our last Yankees part before we get into what we're going to cap this off with. So Yanks Sox preview for tonight, which is another bizarre 7:30 start in Fenway, which I don't know why the hell Boston is deciding to start games at 7:30 with no fans in the stands. It's kind of ridiculous, but whatever. You got Jay Happ, so he'll continue to keep rolling. He'll be facing Mazza tonight, who's going for the Red Sox. And then tomorrow we got David Garcia on the mound for a 1:07 start against Hook. So one of them is probably going to be a bullpen game, if not both of them. I mean, Sox are going to try to give us a hard time because that's just kind of what they do. But man, they've looked pretty rough this season. So I'm pretty sure they kind of want this week to get over and get to their golf courses or whatever the heck they're going to do afterwards, because it has been pretty bad for them. But yeah, unfortunately, I kind of wish tomorrow's game was the Sunday Night Baseball game because it's on at the same time as the Giants. So it's the whole flicking back and forth thing and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's a fiasco, but whatever. Leave it to the Red Sox to go ahead and pick their start times to be tonight and really stupid. So whatever.
Yeah. 7:00 games, 7:30 games are reserved for you want people getting out of work to come to the game. There's no one there. Start early.
Exactly. What are you waiting for? Hold on. What does Frank got here? I would say at least Cole is finally a big picture contract that worked out. That is true. Well, I mean, I will say, though, in recent history, though, Tanaka got a pretty big deal, and I would say he's worked out pretty good for the Yanks. Yeah, it's true. He does live all the way up there. He does.
Good. I'm glad they've given up.
Yes, please.
I hope it hurts their very soul that they've given up and Tom Brady is wearing a pirate costume now. I hope so much it hurts them.
Yeah. No No sympathy for those dudes up there. But
they've had way too much success. Way too much success.
Yeah, but the last big contracts the Yankees have been announced the starting pitchers. Tanaka was a big one that's worked out pretty nicely, and also before that, CeCe's contract. CeCe was, I mean, he's probably going to Hall of Fame, and he's pitched great. What is this? I now have to hear about the Bills. Oh well,
where? How far are you up?
Frank lives in like Toronto or something. No, he lives it's like Connecticut or upstate or something like that.
Frank, I'm a Giants fan, lifelong, and I married into a Bills family, so I know all about the Bills. I'm surrounded by Bill stuff right here in my house, so I get it. I hear about the Bills all the time. Also,
Frank lives in Albany, so
I guess that'd be Bills country.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I could respect that. The Sox stuff, though, I don't know what the hell is that about.
Yeah, they're still in New York. Why would you want to? I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. They want to be pains in the ass. That's probably why.
They don't want to be associated. They're like the real New York. They say, I think sometimes.
Yeah, they need to relax because most of the world, when they talk about New York, they're talking about the four boroughs. Because I'm not even going to count Staten Island. They're going to go with the four boroughs. Staten Island's a whole other story.
Shaolin, you got to count it.
I do love Wu-Tang though. Like that is very clear. But we both know Staten Island is like this other place that is kind of Jersey-ish, New York-ish. Like they don't even know what they want to be. They are everywhere, and they are a bunch of bums. That's right, Frank. But Frank's actually going to be Frank's going to be entertained about what we're going to close with now, though.
Is he a fan?
He is a fan. Frank is all about the Marvel movies and Star Wars and stuff like that. The Mandalorian season 2 trailer dropped this week, and it was friggin' awesome. I'm going to make sure that I catch myself not dropping F-bombs, so Karachi, there you go. No cursing here. Yes. That was that. Well, you saw that. That was that meme that I shared from 6 years ago that was not trusting somebody even if they don't have Wu-Tang on their iPod. Frank calls me out on Facebook for like, or still has an iPod. I do miss my iPod, man. I had a friggin' pretty awesome one. What was it, like the 160 gig one or something like that? I don't know what the hell happened to that, but
Sam still uses the video one, the old school wheel, and the thing works perfectly.
Wow. Well,
yeah. Your iPod still works perfectly.
Frank, there's also something, by the way. I have my father's Nano. I got him a Nano years ago. It has a bunch of oldies on it. It's pretty much like CBS 101. Not now, because now those oldies are 80s songs. But like when we were growing up, what CBS 101 sounded like.
Yeah, it's 50s and 60s. Yeah, now it's
exactly.
I was like,
that's what that iPod is filled with.
I heard an oldie come up on one of those stations, and it was Sweet Child of Mine. I wanted to put a bullet in my head.
That's a fact. Frank, hold on. I actually have it right here. Wow. There it is. The Nano. My father's Nano. Here you go, Frank. I have an iPod, and I'm going to put Wu-Tang on it.
I still have
Wu-Tang on this.
I still have an iPod. I love my iPod. I bought the highest gig and everything. I got it. It's awesome.
It is pretty awesome. But I never got into the shuffle thing.
But see, I'm a weirdo. I have an iPhone and an iPod. I want them separate. I don't want them the same. I don't want to. So I don't know. I'm just a weirdo like that.
All right, so I can see Frank's chopping at the bit. So Tim, I'm gonna let you roll with this one. So I'm assuming you also loved the season 2, the trailer for Mandalorian season 2.
Not only did I love this trailer, not only did I watch it quite a few times. We're gonna have to do our rankings over again, and I'm gonna tell you exactly why.
Oh,
this show, The Mandalorian, really makes me dislike the new movies. Now, not all of them. I still love The Force Awakens,
which I was watching before I came up.
And I'm not the hater. I don't want to be one of those haters. I'm not, because I will love everything Star Wars forever. But The Mandalorian is so freaking good. It really makes me get angry at the last 2 movies, and it's to the point where I want to re-rank my whole list again, because The Mandalorian is what Star Wars is and should be, and it's just a freaking trailer. Like, I can't even wait till next. I want to take off. Even though they only do 1 episode, I might take off that Friday to celebrate and just watch all of them all over, the whole show, and then watch the new episode. It looks fantastic. The tease that we could be seeing Jedi. Ridiculous. And Luke Skywalker. He's alive. It's only 5 years after Jedi. It's
But
very
how-
possible Mark Hamill could show up.
So we're talking like CGI. I mean, that's some heavy CGI. The aging CGI they would have
Yeah,
to do.
they got the
Okay.
budget, man. They got the budget.
I know it is movie
So,
budgets there.
Yeah, this is a movie. This isn't a TV show budget. This is a freaking a movie budget. So, I mean, yeah, I think it looks outstanding. And from anything I've heard from the rumors, I don't want to shut out rumors because I don't want to spoil it for anybody. From what I've heard, wow! Like if this is if half the stuff that I've heard that's going to happen in this season happens, forget it. It's going to be absolutely ridiculous. I know Dave's pulling it up already. Yes, we saw WWE superstar Sasha Banks made her appearance in the trailer. A lot of people thought that was Ahsoka from the cartoon. It is not. I do not. She's not playing Ahsoka. If anyone's playing Ahsoka, it will be.
They said Rosario Dawson. No,
Rosario Dawson.
that's like official though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't know. I didn't catch her in it.
Yeah.
But
so and I loved the Baby Yoda. Well, he's not. I'll call him Baby Yoda for now.
the child.
He's not Baby Yoda. We'll call him the child.
Okay. It's also
Absolutely loved. Yeah.
keep going with props.
So I absolutely love the scene where he says it's dangerous to bring a child in here, and he's like, I know, and I know you'd be here. Whatever he says, the line, and child looks at him, boop, shuts the door, and that's it. All you do is you hear the Mandalorian kicking the crap out of everybody. Fantastic! I absolutely love this show. I cannot wait for this season to come out, and I'm hoping the rumors are wrong. I heard one rumor that
Spell it.
Pedro Pascal walked off halfway through the season, that him and Favreau weren't getting along, or he wanted to take the helmet off. This is only a rumor now. It's a rumor.
Okay.
I'm not facting anything. That he was a little upset because he wanted to take the helmet off, and they basically said no. And we told you, like, when you signed on, that you're not taking the helmet off, 98.9% of the time. And supposedly he got a little upset and said he wanted to take the helmet off for at least something. And they said no, and supposedly he walked off. I don't know if it's true. I hope it's not true, but we'll see, I guess. But I'm pretty sure he finished the season. Because if he didn't finish the season, I'm sure he would have heard about that.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I kind of feel like that would have been much bigger news. And I will listen. I consider myself a pretty solid Star Wars fan and stuff like that. Obviously, you on another level with it, but like I think we all would have heard about that. I think that would have been more mainstream news if something like that would have happened. So I kind of doubt that. Plus, from what I heard about season 1, though, he was barely under the helmet the whole time. It was mostly a stunt double. So that story just kind of doesn't add up to me, though. Like, it doesn't seem like it really.
Well, it's like all the superhero movies, and it's been my one major complaint about all of them.
Always taking the mask off.
Always taking the mask off. Oh, we got to show the face. Man, you watch Fantastic Four. They actually turned Ben Grimm back to normal just so Michael Chiklis can get his 5 minutes. Dude, who cared?
Wow. We just referenced the Fox Fantastic Four.
But it's true, though. Even Michael Keaton's ripping the thing off, and because you got to show his face every day. You got to show who's under the mask. I don't want Judge Dredd is the only one who was like, no, I ain't taking that mask off ever. We'll leave that freaking helmet on the whole time, and I give that much respect to that because of that. So a lot of these actors have to show, Tobey Maguire had the mask off half the time. He had the mask off way too much. That's my main complaint about that trilogy. But I wouldn't be surprised if he wanted to be seen more. But if he signed on knowing that Mandalorians don't take their helmet off, then he shouldn't be bitching. But like I said, it's a rumor. Nothing has been concrete evidence. There's no evidence of it. So hopefully it's all crap. So
But again, if the guy's barely in it, I mean, barely under the costume, like he's just doing voice work most of it.
Yeah,
I don't know. It doesn't seem like it adds up to me. But is there any kind of Easter eggs or some things like that you may have noticed in there that are not spoiler? I mean, if it's in the trailer, we could talk about it. That's not spoiling anything.
I mean, nothing major. I mean, I saw the Tusken Raiders on the Banthas, so I'm assuming Tatooine's going to be back again. I don't know.
It's always back.
Tatooine is the center.
Tatooine never goes away.
They said it's the outer rim, but I really think it's the center of the universe. I don't think Coruscant's the center of the universe. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. We saw everybody. We saw Carl Weathers back. We saw all the returning characters. Gina Carano. But I mean, visually, it looks great. The planets look great, and it said just the fact that we might get Jedi, and the fact that they might even name Yoda's species for the first time.
That's what I really, really want to know. That might be one of the biggest things that I'm looking forward to in this upcoming season. I want to know what the heck they're called. or more
Yeah.
about that.
And are they all force sensitive? Are they a force sensitive being? Because
Yeah.
we've only seen 2 ever in Star Wars, and they're
Yep.
both force sensitive. They're both on the council in Episode 1, Yoda and Yaddle. And now you got the third one, the child, and he's force
Yeah.
sensitive too. So is this whole species all Jedi? I mean, that's what I want to see. Are they
Yeah.
do any of them go to the dark side? Are there any bad Yodas? That would be phenomenal too. I'd love to see a little green Yoda with the yellow eyes. That'd be fantastic. Honestly, I didn't notice any made. You know why I watched it on my little Kindle and my phone like 4 times. I haven't watched it on the big screen yet, so I really didn't notice any major Easter eggs or spoilers. So if there is, I haven't seen them yet.
So when I popped out, I was, what the hell was I doing? I think I was actually with Marvel at the dog park when that popped. That's another question. There are clones in Star Wars, so is he a clone of Yoda? That would be interesting to find out. Or would that be something that people would think is probably a dud? Like,
he's
that's kind of weak.
He's 45 years old when Yoda died, so I mean, it's possible.
Yeah.
You can say it's not possible. Anything's possible.
Yeah, so
Yoda's alive at the same time. The kid's 50 years old, don't forget.
It's true.
Kid's older, as old as Vader, so
wow.
Yeah.
Vader kept moving around pretty good for his age.
I'm just dying to see when they stop being infants, because he's already 50. Like, as you
when does he hit that growth spurt?
As he turned 51, all of a sudden it's like, he starts talking normally and starts, So that's going to be great to see. So what'd you think?
I thought it was awesome. I was pretty excited about it. Like I was saying, when it dropped, I know I'd shared it with you guys, but I waited until I got home to watch it on my TV. I thought it looked great. And that whole scene kind of made me think of like a Bronx Tale a bit, when they just kind of like, when he looks at the child and everything like that, and then it goes black and you just hear people getting their ass kicked. It's like, now you can't leave. Mm-hmm. And then bang, and then that goes ahead. I was kind of looking for Ahsoka, which I thought would have been kind of cool to see, but I guess they're kind of saving that, for maybe another trailer or something like that. But I mean, it's going to be here in a little bit over a month. I'm, beyond excited for it. I'm probably going to do a rewatch of that. I'm about to start The Boys season 2, and then I'm going to do a rewatch of Mandalorian. That'll kind of like take me up nicely to season 2. No, I mean, you hit a couple of things. I'm super stoked about it. Can't wait for it. And I think I know we talked about it. I guess we'll figure it out. Maybe we should do a Mandalorian review every week. I would be up for that. Yeah, I mean, that'll actually be right after the World Series and everything. So we can keep it going there.
That'll keep us going. Yeah, and also with everything going on, I wanted to say we should do another show about that too, because I don't put too much. I'm not going to even mention his name. I don't want to give him a plug, but there's a certain guy on YouTube, Ed. I think you know who I'm talking about. He comes out with inside information. Now, the dude's been right a couple times. He really has. He's nailed a few things, but he comes out with a show every day, and every day he's coming out with new and crazy things going on behind the scenes at Lucasfilm and Disney and everything. And I don't know what to believe in and watch, but if half of what he says is true. Mm-hmm. Wow. I mean, things are really going to go in a different direction. I do know for a fact that Kathleen Kennedy is not the most favorite person there anymore.
Yeah.
They really don't like her anymore. They actually took her off several projects.
Yeah.
And she tried to turn, she got all militant with one of the shows saying, I know this show's going to be all about female empowering and female this. And they're like, dude, that's not what this show's supposed to be. And they took her off one show, and then they didn't want her anywhere near Kenobi.
Yeah.
Well, she definitely had nothing to do with Kenobi. So then, and the fact that it's Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, and George Lucas are now calling the shots, basically. If that's true, I'm all in. I'm all in.
Lucas back in the fold.
Back in the fold, because he was not happy with that trilogy. He was not happy with the direction they took him in. And a lot of people weren't. And Kathleen Kennedy's taking all the shit for it, but it might be right, because supposedly now, again, a rumor only, there's a 4-hour, again, because this is freaking Justice League, there's a 4-hour Rise of Skywalker version supposedly exists, and it's J.J. Abrams' director's cut, what he wanted to do with the film, that Kathleen Kennedy put the kibosh on.
Ooh.
Now, if that's true, whether we ever going to see it, I don't know. But Abrams has been surprisingly quiet before the movie, during the movie, and since the movie came out. He's been nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
So it could be true.
Well, plus also, I know he signed that big deal with Warner Brothers, And I know there's a lot of rumors with him circling around, like Justice League Dark, and potential finally Man of Steel sequel, a proper sequel. So I don't know, that could be a part of it, but I think a lot of things we'll wait to see what happens with the Snyder Cut. If the Snyder Cut is what it's supposed to be and everyone goes bonkers and it does look like DC is going to say that that's canon, then I think you would see a lot of other movies going forward. I mean, look, we're getting a Godfather cut. We're getting a Godfather 3 cut in December. I mean,
a Rocky 4 cut.
A Rocky 4 director's cut now. So now it's all like, all these directors are like, hey, guess what? My studio didn't let me do my movie the right way, so I have the footage. Let's roll. But I think that's kind of cool, though.
But like I said, if what they said, I don't know. I don't want to say. I'm not going to give that guy a shout out yet because I don't know if he has. I said he nailed a few things. He nailed a few things before episode 9. So where he gets the info from, I don't know. But every day he comes out with some scandalous new thing, and it's like I don't know how much of this is real, how much is not. Because if Kathleen Kennedy was really in as much trouble as she is, I think we would have heard about it by now, out in public. But I do know that the one thing you can guarantee is Favreau, Filoni, and Lucas are pretty much now in charge of all things Lucasfilm, except for one show that has no name yet, but it's supposed to be heavily female-driven, and that's what Kathleen Kennedy is working on.
Which is fine. Honestly, I don't have an issue with that, and go with it. It's fine. I think you can do, because my thing that I love with the MCU so much is that not every movie is just a carbon copy of the other one and just switch out the title character. So, but you have to keep the essence of Star Wars and then still make it a little bit different at the same time. Like all the MCU movies, you can turn it on and know it's an MCU movie, but then you also see it's different at the same time. So if Kathleen Kennedy is going to do her show, that's great. We got the Cassian Andor show that's coming in. That's great. Mandalorian, keep on rolling. We got Kenobi coming. So that's great. And I thought I saw some rumors about Kylo Ren show. I don't know if that was true or not, but.
Yeah, but see, that's another thing, too. That's where everything's becoming a mess. Kylo Ren, they want to use on a show that takes place like 1,000 years in the future. Kind of almost like a ghost. Okay. He comes back, something like that, to help a new generation of Jedi, that whole thing again.
Yeah.
To become kind of a mentor to the future or something like that, but not going to take place anywhere near where Rey is alive. It's going to be way in the future.
So I thought I read that it was about that it was like a Kylo Ren like being, like younger and stuff like that, like pre-Force Awakens Kylo Ren, that we'd finally get to see him. Yeah, that's what I would love to see. I would love to see how how Ben Solo became Kylo Ren. That's the series I want.
Well, let me tell you, I have the comics. I bought the comic book series that takes place right before, and I did not like it. I did not like his transition, whatever. But again, there's also, the rumor was that Kathleen Kennedy removed the scenes where he became, how he burned the temple down, and he's the one. This is a major thing, and I believe this is true. And Luke is the one who took Vader's armor off Endor and built a shrine in the new temple. So when Ben burned it down, he took the helmet with him.
Interesting. That makes sense.
Why would you delete that scene? Why would you take that scene out of a movie?
Yeah,
that's a phenomenal scene.
Absolutely.
So that's the rumor. But as far as the comic book goes of how it doesn't explain how Snoke gets in his head. It's just like, Snoke talks to him in his dreams. It's like, dude, what the hell's going on? That's why what the comic would say. Ben was a kid. He met Snoke somehow. He became kind of like the Emperor did to Anakin. He became a mentor, became a guy, became this, but no one knew who Snoke really was until he corrupted him. And then all of a sudden, one day Luke just read his head and said, "Oh, he's going to be bad. I have to kill him." It's kind of it's sloppy.
They could have fleshed that story out a lot more. I know Frank is mentioning that Ben Solo, seeing the novice, he couldn't buy his character. Honestly, Ben Solo, Kylo Ren, is my favorite character in the new trilogy. I thought he was fascinating to watch and to see how he was kind of like wanted to be grandfather and everything like that and wanted to do all this stuff, but it seemed like he also didn't know the full story of, his grandfather. He kind of like saw him to a certain extent and didn't really see his redeeming part of it. It's almost like Ben Solo didn't catch the end of Jedi. He just saw like the rest of it and just didn't catch that. So I think they could do a much better job fleshing that story out, and watching Force Awakens before he came up here. to do the show. I also made me look about even the beginning setup, things that were set up in Force Awakens that kind of just went nowhere. The biggest
like said, we don't know if it was a battle between the directors too, but like you said, you know, Kylo Ren has the helmet, and the next one it's like take that stupid helmet off, and the third one's like no, I'm putting the helmet back on.
Yeah,
you can see
it's
all those clearly. Little things are like really what what's going on here?
Yeah, the biggest problem I thought that they had with the new trilogy was simply that you got to have an overall game plan from the beginning and just say, hey, listen, this is where the plot points need to happen in episode 1, 2, 3. Obviously not by actual numbers, we know what I mean, like 3 parts. Boom, boom, boom. These need to happen. Hire different directors if you want. You can give them some freedom, but X, Y, and Z needs to happen exactly how Kevin Feige does it with that. And I don't want to keep going and making it sound like he's the only producer in Hollywood that can make it happen, but that's kind of the blueprint you need to follow. Just have an overall vision for your story, and that's it. So
that's why Lucas he wrote the first 3, but didn't direct all of them.
Yeah.
Second one, he kind of went over the top and did everything, which he probably shouldn't have done in the prequel. But let me tell you something right now. I think it's hysterical how much people love the prequel trilogy all of a sudden. It took 20 years, but the prequel trilogy is beloved now.
Which I listen. I still feel my opinion hasn't changed on it. It is what it is. I will say that it has the prequel trilogy over the sequel trilogy. We'll call it. There is an overall. You can see there's a plan at least in place that the movies do fit together well. But then you get into which ones are boring, which ones are entertaining, things like that. So whatever. That's where I give the sequel trilogy technically the upper hand because at least. They are entertaining movies. Now it can drive you insane, for certain plot points that don't follow through. But whatever. So, all right.
I don't know what rumors are true, what rumors are not true. Another rumor I will say real quick though is Hayden Christensen will be back as I don't want to say Vader. I'm assuming Vader, but I think we're going to get my famous scene that I've been begging for, where Obi-Wan's going to realize who Darth Vader is. And realize that Anakin's alive, and was supposed to get that Force meeting or something like that along the lines with Hayden Christensen, and they're also talking about it again. Rumor. I'm just saying it's a rumor. They want to bring him back for some kind of I don't want to say a full series, but some kind of show or some kind of something with him. And I hope they just call it The Purge. Because if they called it Vader The Purge, I'm in. I don't care. I'm in. It's just him, every episode, him hunting down a new Jedi. That's all you need. That's the greatest show ever invented if that's what the show's going to be about. And supposedly they want him to come back.
Well, listen, I'm sure they can pony up for the acting classes and sharpen him up and things like that. And he's had some time to experience it. I'm pretty sure he wants to redeem himself also. So I wouldn't mind seeing that if he's definitely put in the work.
He wouldn't be doing the voice of Vader anyway. Because James Earl Jones, you can't go from Anakin Skywalker to Vader's inflections, the way he talks. It's got to be like a guy who does a James Earl Jones imitation. You can't just be like, no, and all that kind of stuff. Which what I'll do is if they don't do this show, because, oh my God, that sounds so good. But like, again, all rumors, hopefully it's if half of what this dude says is true, it's looking good.
Nice.
So I'm pumped.
It sounds awesome to me. Sign me up.
So I guess we're going to wrap that up there. And like I said, next week, we looking at next week? Next week is another full week?
Yeah, next week's another full week. We can maybe do another weekend show, tie in with both of the things. We'll see what our schedules look like. Maybe we can look at a morning show because Tim and I and Francisco, our buddy, we are driving to New Jersey to see the 40th anniversary screening of Empire Strikes Back. So bang, maybe we can do a show and then head out to Jersey. We'll see how it goes. We'll work it out, but we will find time to be back next week.
Sweet. And are they playing every day next week too?
Yeah, they are. That's what I'm saying. I gotta kind of look at the schedule for that and see. Maybe Sunday. I mean, they do play their last game at 3:00. Their last regular season game next Sunday at 3:00. I didn't look at the Giants schedule to see, but maybe we do a Sunday night show or something if you're good with that. And we can wrap up the last week of the season, postseason preview. Boom.
They play the 49ers, so it's not going to be at 1:00.
Might be. The 49ers are playing the Giants. The Jets tomorrow at 1:00, no?
I don't know. Well, it depends on where they're playing.
All right. Well, whatever. We can probably make Sunday happen at some point.
All right, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
So, all right, that sounds good. Another good show. Hopefully, next week we'll be talking about 25 wins in a row, or whatever the hell we're talking about. Luke Voigt, no buttons, hitting home runs. These are made at 400, so hopefully it'll work out. All right. Any closing remarks before we go?
Quickly, as we say every week, people, there's a pandemic. Wear a mask. Got this awesome Levelwear Yankees mask. If your problem is you don't see one you like, it's got a filter spot and everything like that. Boom. Represent the Bombers. Protect people. Get it done. Let's go.
Yep, I agree. Don't be stupid because the trains are already packed again. The subways are packed wall to wall. Wear your damn mask. I don't want to get sick. Nobody wants to get sick. Let's go Yankees.
That's
This is the way. And this is the way. Peace out, everybody. See you next week.